Hey, so we are continuing our conversation about things to know about homeschool. Forgot to turn my light on. Things to know about homeschool. And this is part two, three. There's an introductory video that talks about what this image represents. We have already gone through the academic portion of the homeschool wheel. And in this video, I want to talk to you about relationships. It may seem obvious that we need to build strong relationships with our spouses and with our children in this whole sphere of homeschooling. But we get so tripped up on the academic piece, worrying and being concerned about things like, can they write their name? Are they making their R's properly? Do they speak correctly? Can they read? Do they know how to add or divide or do fractions? And those things we get so focused on them that they become hurdles and stumbling blocks to building strong relationships with our kids and with our spouses. It's so important that we remember that relationships are the center, that they're the core, and that on any given day, on any given hour, that if the relationship is suffering, we need to give it our full attention. And I have 5 kids, and I have to say that the most challenging season of life, 5 sons, for me, has been the age 12. Oh, it's terrible. I think they invented the movie Captain America specifically so that we would have a point of reference for a 12-year-old brain. There's this scene in Captain America before he is Captain Rogers. He's that scrawny little guy, and they throw him in the machine. They don't throw him, they put him in the machine, they inject him with stuff, and then sparks fly and things go crazy. And then at the end, smoke, and the door opens, and out comes Captain America. And there's this transition point in, for my kids, 12, but in that kid brain, that things short. They go from being the little kids that were the cuddle bugs when they were little, and they need to transition to being the young adults that they need to be. And things go crazy. They get strapped in, hormones start flying, sparks start going everywhere, people are screaming, and it's scary, frustrating, and confusing. I bring that up because in homeschooling, we can get so focused on academics that when relational issues spring up, bad attitudes, fighting, complaining, etc., we can become almost enemies with our children or our spouses, to where we go to war toe to toe, ready to die over the mountain of, by golly, I'm going to check off the homeschool box today. And my paper says math. So we're going to finish math. Well, at the end of the day, the math lesson is not more important than your relationship with your kids. It's not. Not all of us are going to wake up 20 years from now and be best friends with our children. That's a hard pill to swallow. But what we do want to know is that we invested in our relationships with our children so that we at least gave it the best effort that we could. So we lean into things that are the most important to our children. If they're hurting, scared, anxious, um, frightened, confused, we need to lean into that and see them. There's that movie Avatar, the blue people, and they say this one thing that basically says, I see you. And your kids, my kids, our kids need to know that we see them, not the student, not the mathematician, not the scientist, but them. That son, that daughter is the core of everything. They are what's more important. They are not identified because of the things that we teach and do with them. They are who they are, and those things add to them. So we need to spend time hanging out with our kids, listening to, especially when they're little, you give them at least a piece of your day where you're all in. You're listening about the story or the building or the exciting game that they created, where you're asking questions and you're hungry for more data and information, and you show them that they are valuable. It's important. It's important that we teach them to do that for other people as well. And one of the things that we did with our kids is we would role play different situations. You'll hear me talk about this when we talk about character and attitude as well. But I would think about different situations with friends or family that could come up. Maybe you're frustrated because of the way that somebody spoke to you or didn't speak to you. You would come up with a scenario, and then when everybody's happy, usually first thing in the morning after breakfast, you'd go, "Okay, kids, everybody come to the living room. We're going to practice something for 5 minutes." And then we would run through for 5 minutes what it looks like to go through that kind of a scenario. And we become the world's worst actors on the planet. This is this is secret sauce. Pay attention to me. Be the worst actress or actor on the planet. Be over dramatic Jim Carrey style, right? Big drama, big crazy. Reenact or act the wrong way, and then have your kids act the right way and make it a fun game. But teach them how to build relationships, how to say hello, how to introduce themselves, how to say goodbye, how to deal with conflict. 5 minutes. And then throughout the day, be watching for opportunities to practice those things together. But really, really, really pay attention to the things that make your kids' hearts beat faster. Really pay attention. Do they love to dance? Do they love to sing? Do they love to whistle? Do they love to build with Legos, color with markers, and lean in and care? Really look at the things that they're making and the things that they're creating. Be delighted in the fact that they are excited about something. They need to know you care before they're going to care what you know. You have to be attentive. You have to love them, of course, but you got to like them. And if you don't like them, they know. Now, I'm a parent. There are days that I don't like my kids. There are days that they don't like me. That's normal. Please hear that. That is normal. But lean into the relationships that you have with your kids, with your family, because it's the core of everything. If that's not rock solid, then all this other stuff, oh, you may get it done, but it's not going to sink to where you want it to sink. You're not going to have the successes that you're going to want to have academically, professionally, talent wise, passion wise. You're not going to get the ground that you need to get. It's that heart of the matter, that relationship that is so core. So watch for opportunities to knit deeper relationship with, learn to speak clearly. Look for opportunities to lean in and build relationships with your kids. Now, I've said a couple times with your spouse and your kids. If you're married, your kids need to know that you love your spouse and you need to lean into that relationship too, because it's so paramount. It's so hard. It's so counterculture today to be in a happy, healthy marriage. But I'm telling you that it's worth all of the effort. And if building relationships pushes into and pushes aside the academics, well done. Well done. Because you can teach a 13, 14, 15-year-old in a day amazing amounts of material if they like you, if they respect you, if they know that you see them. It takes zero time. Well, it takes little time. But if they don't like you, and if they don't think that you see them, And if they don't think that you like them, you could try for a year and you won't be able to teach them anything. So, especially when they're younger, really knit in. Now, you don't have to be their best friend, right? Because parent first, we're parents first. You don't have to be their best friend, but you do need to work on that relationship so that they see you, so that they hear you, and get creative. All 5 of my kids are boys, and my boys don't like this kind of conversation. "Oh, look into my eyes and tell me what's going on in your heart." Oh, they hate that. So instead, we do parallel conversations. We go for a drive. This is much more safe. We go for a drive and they'll tell me everything that's on their heart, or we'll build something side by side, while they're doing Legos or while we're drawing at the table or doing whatever it is we're doing. Shoulder to shoulder really helps connect to their hearts, especially if they're boys. But find creative ways to knit into your kids' relationships, and you will find that you are able to teach them so much more with this other stuff that you think that you should be doing. So, relationships first, academics come much further. And that's it for this video. So, if you haven't watched the introductory video, go back and watch that. We've gone through academics and relationships. Next, we're going to talk about character and attitude. I'll see you in the next video.